Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. We are going to go through today on our Training Thursday show 5 all-natural fat burners that have been proven to boost your metabolism. So they are all food-based extracts or food themselves, and what we want to do is we want to go over in detail and actually share with you how you can simply add these things into your diet if you choose to, that will enable you to burn more body fat without changing anything else in your daily routine. Now, that does not mean that I don't believe in exercise. It doesn't mean that I don't believe in eating healthy and all of these things, because I do. What I want you to do is maximize your results. That's really what it's all about. So if you're putting in the effort, if you're walking your 10,000 steps a day or doing your best, if you're getting in more days than not of moving your body through exercise, if you're eating well 9 out of 10 meals, if you're doing all of these things, which is what I preach, which is living in the real world, but also wanting to achieve your wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging goals, well, why wouldn't I want to give you then a few more things that you can do that are going to make it that much easier? So you're already doing the work. Why not allow yourself to burn an extra 2, 3, or maybe even 5 pounds a month, depending on how much weight you have to go, without doing anything extra, right? So that's it. So there's nothing that's basically free, right? In this world, there's nothing that's just like, there's no catch to this. You still have to do the actual work, meaning like you're going to want to focus on a good anti-inflammatory, blood sugar balancing, nutrition-based plan. And we've been talking about that the last couple of weeks. So there's no doubt you've probably heard previous podcasts and previous shows in this. And I do want you to continue moving that body. I want you to walk every single day. If you're not able to walk, I want you to get on an upright bike. If you're not able to get on an upright bike, I want you to do a rowing machine. I want you to get that body moving, right? I want you doing body weight exercises. Then I want you graduating to maybe some more resistance-based training. I want you moving that body, right? So that's the first thing, is diet and exercise absolutely do matter. Anybody that tells you they don't, well, I don't know. I think they might be just a little bit confused, because certainly by moving your body, believe it or not, actually starts to break down muscle tissue, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because what that means then is that your body says, okay, we need more carbs, we need more protein, we need more of everything, which allows you then to repair that tissue. Okay, we use amino acids, we use glucose, and that's a great thing. So now you're using up some of the calories that you're eating to a greater degree. Your body increases protein synthesis to be able to repair tissue. Now those calories are going in good use. And if you just eat the same, well, you most likely start to burn fat just there and by itself. Well, now we add in a good nutrition plan, right? We talked about that before. I'm going to share with you what we do with our Fatlocity system. And again, I give everything away in what we do for free on the show. So I want you to just take the information and do with it what you feel is appropriate. But we get questions all the time. So I always like to do follow-up shows of like, why do you do this in your weight loss system? Why do you do this? Why do you use this? And I'll go through all of that today. And of course, you'll get all of that information. All of the links today, if there are any, will be at stephencabral.com/1581, stephencabral.com/1581, and all previous podcasts are at stephencabral.com/podcasts. Okay, so let's get right into it. 5 natural fat burners that have been proven to scientifically boost metabolism. So I want to use the scientific part, and that's because we already know a lot of herbs through Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine, and even Native American medicine, Hawaiian-based medicine that I've studied, all of these different things that we know boost the metabolism and burn body fat. So there's no doubt about that. I want to start with just one of those, and then I'm going to shift gears and actually move back to more of, we'll just say like extracts and items like that. Because I could go on all day about Korean ginseng and other great products. I won't talk about those today. Okay, what I'm going to talk about today are just a couple specific ones, one that maybe you didn't know about. And the first one is from chili peppers. Now, I'll give you alternatives to chili peppers if you don't want to eat chili peppers. But I want you to know that there's well-documented scientific research going back at least 20 years on how eating hot peppers boosts your metabolism. And to the tune of a minimum of 50 calories per day. This was published, the study was actually published in Appetite in 2012. It showed an extra 50 calories a day, doing nothing, by the way, just eating chili peppers. And then there's another study showing that an extra 74 calories burned just after the meal with hot peppers. So really interesting, right? I mean, all you are doing is adding spice to your meals to boost your metabolism. Now, if you look at it, you might say, oh, well, that's not that big a deal. Well, okay, not in the short term, right? Because so the thing is, we're not looking at hype-based fat loss, like lose 30 pounds in 7 days. We're not talking about that. We're talking about real-world weight loss that you can also keep off. That's the important thing, is no doubt about it, we help people lose 5 to 10 pounds their first week. We help them lose then 3 to 5 pounds or so their second week, and then they lose anywhere from 1% to 2% of their body weight for that month, and then go on to lose 1% of their body weight ongoing until they reach their goal. So you might say, well, that's a lot of math right there. What does that really mean? Well, the truth is that following a good nutrition plan, even if you don't do the exercise, again, I love exercise, so don't get me wrong, wrote a book on it. That's where I started my career. But we have people all the time do our 21-day detox or do our first 21 days of Fatlocity or any of these things, and they're losing anywhere between 10 and 21 pounds in that 21 days. Now, does that go on forever? No, and I'm not going to say that it does. But you're going to lose that big chunk of weight up front. And the reason is that you're balancing so much more than just fat loss. You're balancing inflammation. So the body's naturally re-regulating healthy levels of inflammation, healthy levels of hormones, healthy levels of blood sugar. So your body then is not as puffy anymore. It doesn't hold as much toxic water weight. I did a show on toxic water weight. If my team is listening to this, please list my show on toxic water weight at stephencabral.com/1581. We'll link back to that, because toxic water weight, people are holding easily an extra 5 pounds of water weight that's not healthy for them. That means it's just puffiness held between essentially the muscles and the skin. Their body's inflamed, and it's systemically inflamed, and they look puffy. They look swollen. A lot of women may notice this about 5 days or 7 days or so before their menstrual cycle begins. That's actually a hormonal imbalance called estrogen dominance. So I've spoken about these things before. Why don't I do this? We're going to link up a lot today. I would love you to learn the whole process of how I created the Fatlocity system. I go through all of the details, and we're going to link up all of those shows today. This will be the last time I say this until the end of the show. Head over to stephencabral.com/1581. We'll link up all of the episodes as to how it works, because it's a system of balancing hormones, blood sugar, cortisol levels. So the first part of hormones is estrogen, thyroid. We've got cortisol. We have sleep. Like, that's the whole thing, is you have to balance all of these things. So when I tell people they can lose this much weight, you can. Again, let's assume that you actually have to lose 20 or more pounds. You can easily lose 5 pounds to maybe even 10 your first week, most likely between 5 and 7 pounds if you have 20 plus pounds to go, and then 3 pounds or so to 4 pounds your next week, and then just conservatively 1% of your body weight, which if you weigh 160 pounds is 1.6 pounds a week until you reach your goal weight. So when you look at that math, if you look at that equation, you're going to lose, 10 pounds or so to 12 pounds your first month, and then that next month, you could easily lose 5 to 8 pounds. And so you're going to reach your goal of 20, 25 pound weight loss, if that was your goal, within 12 weeks maximum. And you get to keep it. So the nice thing is, when you're doing a no hype program, you don't lose it and then regain it, lose it, regain it. You have to get on a program that you're actually going to keep up with. And so that's why I'm talking about these all natural fat burners today. So chili peppers is one. I'll give you an alternative as well, but there's an actual mechanism behind it. So there's a study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2016, so just about 3.5 years ago. And there was this product called capsaicin. And essentially, it's just chili pepper extract, right? If you take chili pepper capsules or cayenne pepper capsules, you get this extract. And what it did was beyond just boost metabolism, because we want to know it's not just about calories. You can't burn the type of body fat we're talking about just through burning a little bit more calories per day. But what happens is it actually regulates satiety. So there are hormones I've spoken about before called leptin and ghrelin. Okay, so what we want to talk about is there's a satiety hormone, glucagon-like peptide, GLP-1. And there's another one called peptide YY. Well, what happens is when you take in something like the capsaicin, you are telling your gut that it's actually being satiated. We actually spoke about this, I think, just yesterday, and how sugar causes cravings and how to rewire that. Well, believe it or not, there's so much happening in your gut that is telling your body to crave or not crave, to be hungry or not hungry. And actually, in this specific study, it showed that these chili pepper extracts or cayenne pepper extracts actually did just this. Many, many more studies on this, but again, you know how to use this as well. If you want to just look up, let's just put capsaicin, CAPSAICIN, or cayenne pepper or chili peppers, boost metabolism, or research, you'll be able to find all of this yourself as well. And again, I want you to be able to really take control of your own health and your own body, because that's what it's all about. All right, so hot peppers is a big one. All right, hot peppers, capsaicin extract, huge. Let's go on to the next one, though, because I could give you so many more studies on this, but you'll be able to find these too. Again, I'm not the only one that can give you these. The huge thing is that these spicy peppers, though, have a lot of health benefits as well. They have health benefits with, believe it or not, I mean, this doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense, but it's anti-inflammatory for the GI, which is really, really nice. Another thing is it helps with ulcers, well, at least in animal-based studies. And then we have it on helping with diabetes, with stroke, and high blood pressure. So pretty impressive, right? What you do for losing weight hopefully will do things also that benefit your health. That's why you never want to sacrifice your health to lose weight. That's really not what it's all about. All right, the second one is this. The second one is green tea. And a lot of people have heard about green tea or green tea extract with helping to lose weight, boost the metabolism. But really what we're talking about is a very powerful polyphenol called EGCG. That's the abbreviation. It actually stands for epigallocatechin gallate, which is probably not actually how you pronounce that, but it's EGCG. And this is one of the polyphenol compounds that's a very powerful antioxidant that has a myriad of health benefits. We're talking anything from helping with blood sugar balance, helping with any inflammatory-based condition, helping with free radical damage in the body, a true longevity and health-based extract from green tea, which is why you've heard me speak about before the power of an organic or ceremonial or wild-based green tea matcha, which is the powder that you can put right in your smoothie. If you've downloaded my greens drink recipes before, you've seen that you can mix that green tea matcha powder right with your daily fruit and vegetable blend. People mix it with their crisp apple. They do it before a workout. It's a great pre-workout, an all-natural pre-workout rather than, a lot of the ones that all have chemicals and all sorts of different things in them. So really powerful for health, but also many studies that show it increases thermogenesis, which is a property that begins to heat up the body. The body has to begin then to rebalance temperature and metabolism. And through that, as your body produces heat, we're bringing it back down to homeostasis that takes calories burned. So there's 6 different studies that I have right here showing that the green tea extract and the caffeine, which I'll be speaking about next, help people burn 16% more fat than a placebo. So that's pretty great. Even if we were looking at, let's say, okay, what's 16% more? Well, let's say that you're burning 500 or so calories in a day. Let's just say that just from metabolism's sake. Well, if we're looking at 16 times that, not 16 times, but 16% more, we're looking at an additional 80 calories. If we were to double that, we're looking at 160 calories. And let's just stick with the 80. And when you look at that, you say, okay, great. Well, 80 more calories, that's nice. Over the course of a month, what's that, about 2,400 calories or so? Okay. And again, nothing earth-shattering right there. But what are we doing? Well, we're compounding, right? So we have now some hot spices in food or capsule-based. We have now green tea, 2 cups a day or so if you'd like, or some matcha that you add to your smoothie, or however that you want to get this, because you can also take the EGCG capsules as well. But let's just say we got some of the caffeine with green tea. So my third one is this, for an all-natural fat burner, is caffeine. And so I always like to talk about caffeine. I've done whole shows on it before, many shows actually on caffeine. Caffeine is not great for everyone. If you have anxiety, if you have a higher rapid heart rate, if you find yourself in fight or flight, if you are more of the ectomorph that's, a little bit more go, having trouble calming down, well, caffeine's not a great ingredient for you. It's really not. so people in our practice, if they want the benefits of caffeine, which again, caffeine, you can type into Dr. Google caffeine and fat burning, and there's probably more studies on that than almost anything else. And that's because it's been proven to boost your metabolism, burn more body fat, boost your metabolism again by another 16% in just 2 hours when using it specifically. And it works for lean people. It works for people that are obese. So there's, again, a lot of benefits. I don't recommend that anybody really go over 300 milligrams of caffeine per day. If they're using a product with caffeine in it, then I recommend they switch over to an organic Swiss water processed decaf coffee that I will be reviewing most likely tomorrow on the show. So hopefully you tune in there. That's episode 1582 tomorrow. If not, actually it will be, I see it here in my little list, 87, 88, 89. It will be next week, episode 1589. Okay, so here's the thing. You can do it to a certain extent. You don't want to overdo it either. I know there's a lot of studies saying, well, people who drank 12 cups of coffee had less chance of Alzheimer's. Well, we have to be careful there. We have to be really careful because there's a big thing where it can affect your heart and cardiovascular health as well. So we don't want to stave off one thing only to get another. So what I'd recommend is, again, we keep things balanced for the most part. But caffeine inside of black coffee or inside of a green tea is a all-natural fat burner. Caffeine is natural, and you can also balance that by taking L-theanine with it and taking magnesium with it. If you take L-theanine, which is naturally present in green tea, or you can get it as a nutritional supplement, and you also take it with a little bit of magnesium as well, what you're going to find is that there's less of a spike. Ashwagandha is great. Like, you can use Adrenal Soothe, you can use other products with it to help modulate that caffeine spike as well. Same with a lot of that anxiety style or anxiety tendencies as well. All right, I want to give you a roundabout one, which is chromium and an herb you may not have heard about before, which is called Gymnema sylvestre leaf extract. The extract is actually called or referred to as GS4 if you want to look it up. But what it allows you to do with chromium is fantastic. Again, cinnamon, I can add to this category, so we'll add a natural food-based product, cinnamon, the natural leaf, which is called Gymnema, and then we have the mineral, trace mineral, which is chromium, and if you wanted to add one more in there, you could certainly add vanadyl sulfate. So what these do, and I really feel that a lot of these are a must, they are going to better regulate healthy levels of blood sugar. That means that you are going to, whether you're eating more carbs or not eating more carbs, or using caffeine or whatever might be dysregulating your blood sugar, that of course you're working on that with good nutrition and you're absolutely doing your walking and your exercise per day, but also that you can use natural things like, again, put a half a teaspoon of cinnamon inside of your smoothie. A lot of people love mixing the vanilla daily nutritional support or their favorite all-in-one with a little bit of cinnamon in the morning. You can throw, again, whatever, half a banana in there that's frozen, some nut milk. You can make the smoothie however you want it. And adding a little bit of that cinnamon is going to help better regulate, again, those healthy levels of blood sugar. When you do that and you keep blood sugar levels more stable, what happens physiologically is that your body is then better able to tap into body fat. So if you have higher levels of blood sugar and that remains a constant throughout the day, you're going to have a very difficult time tapping into body fat. Your body is going to say, we have sugar. We're going to use the sugar in the bloodstream before we start to tap more into body fat. Okay, part of this has to do with the state of the autonomic nervous system, whether you're more fight or flight, whether you're more in that anaerobic based or whether you're more aerobic, relaxed, and tapping more into body fat. That does matter as well. But throughout the day, we want to keep those blood sugar levels balanced, so that's a big one as well. The last one I want to share with you is fiber. And a lot of people overlook fiber. But why does fiber matter? Well, the big thing, and I go back to this, and I started the show that way as well with the hot pepper extract, is when you start to regulate and boost these hormones like PYY and GLP-1, you begin to reduce the levels of the hunger hormone ghrelin. So if you can improve leptin and you can reduce that hunger hormone ghrelin, you actually feel full longer. You're going to have less cravings for more food. So it's a natural appetite-based suppressant. And the nice thing is, and I've done many, many shows on fiber, so you're welcome to look those up and check those out as well. When you go, or even add something in like psyllium or advanced fiber support, any one of these things, when you add them in, you fill up your gut to a greater degree. And when you are doing this, again, you're going to be fuller longer. It's why there's a lot of diets out there right now that are just devoid of any carbohydrates. I can't recommend those for the long term. One, you're not going to stick to it. That's the truth. That's the bottom line. The second is they're not good for the gut bacteria. I've done a show on that. And the third is that there's really nothing wrong, especially with filling up on some good quality vegetables. And if vegetables bother your gut, you really need to test why that is. Run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. Run the bacteria and parasite stool test. Run a food sensitivity test. Figure out why you get bloating in the gut when you eat carbohydrates, because there's most likely a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or Candida overgrowth or both. So when we begin to figure this out, we can say, okay, well, now we can go back to eating carbohydrates. They're not going to make me bloated and puffy and all these things, but they're also going to keep you healthier, and they're going to keep you satiated for a much longer degree. So when this happens as well, you are not only improving your health, but you're improving your satiety levels, you're feeling more full, and you get to eat more food and different types of food as well. So I'm a huge fan. Again, I'm going to recap real quick. We've got the hot peppers. Add them to meals or take them in capsules if you want. We've got green tea. You can use matcha. You can use regular green tea, 2-3 cups a day if you'd like. You can add it to a smoothie if it's the matcha powder. What else did I speak about? The cinnamon, the gymnema leaf extract, gymnema sylvestre leaf extract, the chromium, the vanadyl sulfate, which are all fantastic. And we have the caffeine, whether you're drinking organic coffee or whether you're taking it with L-theanine. And then we have, of course, the fiber. So these are some things that were must-haves when I put together my Fatlocity system. And you can simply go to equilibriumnutrition.com/Fatlocity or just fatlocity.com to check that out. You can also go to stevencabral.com/1581. I'm going to link up some more in-depth shows on how this was created. Keep in mind, it's always whole food, good, clean nutrition first. That focuses on anti-inflammatory foods, natural blood sugar balancing foods, all great cruciferous vegetables to balance hormones, especially like estrogen dominance. So that's always first. We got to get the body moving, and then we start to add on these extras. And when you add the extras, you get extra benefit without a whole lot of extra work. And that's why, again, in the Fatlocity system, we created a course that teaches you all this, that comes with it. But then the Fatlocity formula is actually the icing on the cake, so to speak, right? And you get those benefits from not having to do more work. So you get that little bit extra, which actually in the long term adds up to be quite a lot. And that's why over the month you saw, okay, 1,600 calories or more so from 1,500 calories, 600 calories from the hot peppers. We got another 2,000 calories or so just from the green tea and caffeine. But it's also the thermogenesis effect, the appetite suppressing effect, like all of these great things that go into it. So remember, when you're looking at fat loss, you're looking at an entire system that goes on in the body. You're regulating hormones. You have to benefit sleep. You need to look at thyroid. You need to look at adrenals. You need to look at blood sugar. So all these things work together. It's never one particular thing. But when you know how to master this, without a doubt, you're going to get better results. And the biggest thing that I want for people is this. I want them to maintain those results for life. Yes, you can slide 5 pounds or 7 pounds above every once in a while, but it's not too far that you can't just bring it back down in a week or two maximum whenever you want. That's really what it's all about. That's what it's like living in the real world. And I know that you'll be able to achieve that as well. So hopefully this was helpful. Thanks so much for tuning into the show. And as always, please feel free to let me know if you have any questions. And of course, share the show with anyone you believe it could serve. Thanks. Take care. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to StephenCabral.com/rainbarrel.